Hey everyone, how's everyone doing? We will be live in 4 minutes. All right. Hello Niraj, how are you doing? Where are you joining from? So go ahead and everyone who is joining, introduce yourself, where they're joining from, and how did they hear about this Ask Me Anything session? Probably on Twitter. We still have a couple of minutes. How's everyone doing? Go ahead and introduce yourself in the YouTube chat. Like where are you joining from? And then we'll start. It will be a casual session. We'll have probably 45 minutes or so, maybe less than an hour because I have to go to a different meeting in 1 hour. So that's the only time I have. But we'll be able to go through some questions, right? Yeah, if you can hear me in the YouTube chat, go ahead and introduce yourself, where you're logging in from, like which part of the world, and also how did you hear about this live session? All right. Okay, we have 2 minutes still. Yeah, it's supposed to start at 11. Got a couple of minutes. Niraj is from India and want to become an iOS developer. Well, you are joining the right stream, live stream, Niraj. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So, what questions do you have in becoming an iOS developer? Are you a .NET developer? Are you already a developer? Python developer? Do you have development experience? So all of those things will definitely be helpful to know. And this session is like just about ask me anything. I mean, there will be a lot of things that I won't know. Like, if you're gonna ask me about those things, then I'll just say I don't really know the answer. But yeah, anything from career advice, content creation, SwiftUI architecture, anything related to that, backend development, anything like that. Go ahead, ask anything you want. It's just a casual conversation, and yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so it's 11 o'clock. Let's go ahead and start. Let me see if I can actually do. There is a way to do start Q&A. Um, Actually, you know what? If you have a Q&A, just ask in the comments. I think that would be much better. Just write in the comments. So I'll introduce myself. It's 11 o'clock. We'll get started. And so my name is Mohammad Azam, and um, I'm an iOS developer. I also teach full time for a coding boot camp. I teach web development and also machine learning with Python. But on the side, I do iOS development, and azamsharp.school is basically that's where I publish a lot of my courses. as you can already see. I think right now we have 39 courses available on Azam Sharp School, apart from these weekly videos that I publish. So that's actually also really good. And I am working on my another course, which will be about machine learning with Python, converting it to ML, and then hosting it on Vapor servers. So I know it's like a lot of stuff, but that's a really good course. It's almost done. I should be able to complete it by next week, and you can see all of these courses and so on. All right. But we're getting some questions over here. All right, so we're getting question from Mark from Netherlands. Netherlands is awesome. Thank you, Mark from Netherlands. I am a .NET developer and have been trying for many years to build iOS app. Do you have an Apple Silicon computer now, or do you still use an Intel iMac? So the one that I'm using right now, Mark, the main computer I have is actually iMac. It is Intel, 27-inch, whatever, 2019, 64 gigabyte RAM. I do have my work computer that is Apple Silicon MacBook Pro M1. I use it sometimes because, I mean, if I'm like on the go, obviously, if I'm out of town, obviously, I'll use the MacBook Pro. But my main 99.9% of the work is done on my iMac, which is in my home office and which is I'm logged into. If you are buying a computer, obviously go with the Apple Silicon. That is insanely fast, insanely powerful. So definitely go with that. I will probably sometime in the future purchase Mac Mini, maybe M4, whatever. I will definitely purchase that. But I'm that kind of a person who only purchase things when it becomes absolute necessary. So right now it hasn't become absolute necessary. So that's why I'm just holding on to it. All right. But yes, uh, I do use Intel iMac 99.9% of the time. All right. All right. And I think Mark is also saying that he is a .NET developer, have been trying for many years to build iOS app. Well, it yeah, I mean, it really depends on the app, and with Swift UI, released in 2019 with Swift UI and with ChatGPT and all these different tools. Hopefully, it is becoming simpler to create applications. All right, so hopefully that has become simpler. Lewis is asking, good morning. What can you tell us about the iOS developer job market now? Well, I don't really have that much information about the iOS developer job market because I haven't been looking for a job. But from what I have heard from developers, uh, and talking to many different developers, what they are saying is that it is, it's a challenging market, it's a tough market, and I think iOS developer market has always been tough. A mobile developer, and the reason mainly is a company, whatever, big company, small company, they will have maybe 10 or 12 web developers, right? Like .NET developers, JavaScript developers, web developers, but they may have only one or two mobile developers. And even those one and two, they want senior level developers, like mobile developers. That is at least what I have seen when I was working with consulting companies and even full time for a lot of other companies, that they will have like 30 .NET developers, but only two mobile developers or even one mobile developer. So that also makes it tough. The other thing that makes the market tough for iOS is the region you are in. I'm in Houston, Texas. Uh, there's not much native iOS going on. Everything is React Native or Xamarin and these kind of things. So there's not much native going on. So you have to probably go and, you probably have to go and go to a region, unless you can find a remote job. You have to go to a region like California, Seattle, New York, all of those places. Austin, Texas is also good, and find those jobs over there, like a physical jobs or whatever for iOS development. All right. So Niraj is saying, I'm doing internship and my senior told me to learn UIKit first and then shift on SwiftUI. Is he right? That's a difficult question to answer, Niraj, because if he's telling you to learn, if your senior is telling you to learn UI kit, he might be telling you because maybe there is a project in your company that it has been using UI kit for a long time, and he wants, when you go and work on the project, from becoming a .NET developer to iOS, you will have to interact with UI kit. So in those cases, yes, obviously, if you work for the same company and that company project is in UIKit, then you have to learn UIKit. If you are creating a brand new application, which is called a greenfield project or greenfield application, which means that not a single line of code has been written, then I would learn SwiftUI because SwiftUI can take you to 90+%. And maybe those 10%, sometime you may have to dive into UIKit or these kind of things. But most of the time, most of the things are now handled by SwiftUI. So it really depends. If you're working in a project that is already there, already being maintained, which is in UIKit probably, then yes, in order to work in that project, you need to learn UIKit. But if you are working on a brand new application, your job or your company decided that we're going to build this product, brand new, not a single line of code is written, then SwiftUI would be a great choice. Yanni is saying, good afternoon from the other side of the planet. What do you think about mentors in iOS? Mentors in iOS or mentorship, I don't know who offers mentorship. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of developers who offers mentorship. Um, but these days, with learning iOS, if you're just starting from scratch, 100 days of Swift, that's a good one. Oops, let me actually show it over here. From Paul Hudson, 100 days of Swift, or I think it's 100 days of Swift UI. So this is a great place to start learning. And again, the Chat GPT can also help you a lot. So you don't really need an actual physical mentor who is even working, remotely with you. You can always use, this 100 days of Swift to get started. And then you can even use Chat GPT to make your code better. I don't really have any example over here right now. I mean, I'll probably have to go somewhere. Let's say that if I write some code, and I'm just gonna pick some random code, okay? So don't worry about what I'm typing over here. So I'm gonna pick something. I mean, regarding mentor on landing a job. Mentor on landing a job. I have never heard of that thing before. Um, So one of the things is once you write code and you are just a beginner developer, you can always go to ChatGPT and say, improve it, and then paste your code, and ChatGPT will give you some answers. All right. Now, it's not always that these answers will be correct. So again, you'll have to see how it looks like and all that stuff. So those can definitely be very helpful. Kumar is saying for navigation in SwiftUI project, do you suggest SwiftUI navigation by point free or coordinator pattern? Please suggest. You know, I have written some articles on SwiftUI navigation. I'll post it over there. But one of the things that I've found out is sometimes when we do these kind of things, we use a third party or we even create our own framework to perform navigation. Um, it adds a complexity to the app, and most of the time, the navigation that you're performing might be okay to just put it inside your views, in the container views, in the parent views, and the parent can just go to the other parent, or the screen can go to the other screen. However, if your application is very large and you want to, provide like one router pattern or something, you can implement those things. You can see over here in my article, I'm doing the same thing. I'm not using any third party or anything like that. So that's just basic SwiftUI code. All right. So that's just basic SwiftUI code. You can use third-party libraries like SwiftUI Navigation by Point Free, but again, you have to understand the uh, implications. You have to understand the compromises, the challenges of using a third-party library. So if you understand all of that and you agree with the with the results, or if you agree with, okay, what if the library is not available, yes, tomorrow, what if the library doesn't work, what if this, what if, then yeah, you can use any third party library that you want. All right. Niraj is asking, can you give me internship in your home office so I'll be able to learn from you and work with you? I don't really provide internship. I mean, I work for a full time for a company, so I don't know if I can provide any internships. I don't. I'm not. I'm like a sole proprietor or sole developer or something. So, but one of the things I think for new developers, which can be very important, is working on actual projects, working on projects, the pet projects, side projects that you care about. All right. Let me show you one of. Why does it open that window? Okay, I don't know why it's opened that window. So let me see if I can find that. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, like this project, like I did this project. I mean, I have a lot of pet projects, but I created this Hello Market application because I wanted to create a course on SwiftUI and backend development with Node.js and with database and everything, and also Stripe integration. So this is one of those things I created where uh, people can go and they can create the whole app, and they can do the whole transaction and all that stuff. All right. And I think there's a video we can watch also a little bit. Yeah, so this is kind of like a little bit of a video. I know it's kind of like small, but it goes through like what the course is basically doing. Anyway, now for you, maybe you're excited about recipes or fitness. So go ahead and create an app for fitness. Go ahead and create an app for recipes. Go ahead and create an app for travel. Whatever is your passion, go ahead and create that app and then put it on GitHub. All right. So the people can know. That will be the best way to publicize your technical skills. All right, so that will be the best way. So then the more projects, more different kind of projects you will have on GitHub, that will be, you know, that will be more interesting. And a person who is trying to hire an iOS developer, they're going to look at your projects and they're going to say, "Whoa, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about." So I'm going to, I'm going to hire this person. I'm going to contact this person versus a person who only has a degree but no experience. You see what I'm saying? And I can tell you one good example. All right, this for everyone over there. I started my YouTube channel like long time ago, and I was publishing videos on iOS development, as you already know. I went to one company to interview for a senior iOS developer. I went to meet their CFO, and the CFO had a screen in his office, and he was watching my video of iOS development because he wanted to create an iOS app for his scuba diving. He's a crazy guy who does scuba diving and cave diving. So he was trying to create that app, and he's like, "Well, I'm using your courses to study, or your videos to study. I don't really have any questions. When can you start?" So they did not even interview me. They just hired me on the spot. All right. So you have to be like that. You have to put content out there, YouTube videos. If you're a writer, go ahead and go to Medium, go on your website, post some stuff over there, and just get your name out there. GitHub, anywhere you want. all right? And post articles, post videos, and these kind of things. All right, so now we're saying, Yanni is saying, what is the best way to make a portfolio, reproduce app clones, for example? Yes, if you want to make a portfolio, again, you can use your own projects, like your pet project or your passion project. If you're interested in fitness, go ahead and create a fitness app. If you're interested in travel, go ahead and create a travel app. All right. Budget, go ahead and create a budgeting app, like a personal finance app, whatever. Clone apps are also great. I mean, you can always learn a lot by creating a clone app. Apple clones app, clone app for Apple reminders app, stocks app, news app, all of these apps you can make clones, and then you can simply host the screenshots and all of that animation screenshots on your website. And if you're trying to create your portfolio, I would suggest just go to Theme Forest. That's what I would do, and search for HTML portfolio. Can't really see now over here. I don't know why it's so small. Okay, so this is HTML portfolio. Obviously, you'll have to find the one that you're looking for, and just buy this for $10 and change the stuff. That is what I would do. I would not spend the time in creating the portfolio website. I would just buy it. I mean, this doesn't look according to my needs, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, just go ahead and buy a portfolio template from a template, and then you can simply use that. All right, and yeah, you can create clone website and all that stuff. Zibaz Zabaza is saying that I purchased 14 of your courses in Udemy, but I only started 2. How do you fix it? Um, yeah, I mean, I think sometimes the information overload can be a problem. All right. I would say that purchase one course, try to finish it before moving on to the next course. And I always tell my students that when they purchase a course, don't just watch the video. Go ahead and do it. Like, do the whole thing. If the course is about building a backend using Vapor, then go and build a backend using Vapor. All right, and create the whole app, write it, and then create and then do it again, but this time use your own app. So if I'm teaching how to make a e-commerce application, maybe next time you will create a Airbnb application. Don't worry about how it looks. Don't worry about that. I mean, I know that people spend a lot of time like, oh, the color isn't right and the shade of the gray isn't right. Don't worry about that. Get it functional. You can always go back and change the look and feel of it. But right now, if you're in a learning phase, try to learn these things. Try to learn, like, how to use a backend, how to create a backend, how to do testing. If the course that you're working on is testing, then write everything. Write every single line of code. See how it actually works, and then try to understand. I think that's the most important part. All right. Right, anyone? Any other questions? These are all good questions. Thanks for asking these things. Hopefully, it's helping. Helping. Can you suggest me a resource for app design UI, or ChatGPT is okay? What I mean is, if I want to app design, can I use ChatGPT? Absolutely, yeah. You can use ChatGPT. ChatGPT, I use it a lot to make the interface a little bit better. I think in my recent videos that I've created, I have done that number of times where I use ChatGPT to just make the UI really quickly, really nice. Um, Obviously, when you use ChatGPT for UI, it's not going to be kind of like the very polished UI. I mean, it's not going to be the cutting edge. It's not going to be like it has been designed by some professional UI UX expert, but it would be good enough. And sometimes good enough is perfectly fine, depending on your application. If your application requires it to be extremely polished design, then yes, then those things you will have to learn. And I think the only way to learn these things is to build more apps, uh, different apps. And I think over here we have design and code. I think that's the website. Design and code is a website where you know where there are a lot of tutorials and courses, and they create like really beautiful apps also. All right, so this is one of those websites. I'm going to share that to you in the chat. I don't really work that much. I don't really invest, I guess, a lot of time in the design process because I'm more of like the functionality, architecture, and backend kind of person. But yeah, if you are trying to learn how to design beautiful interfaces, then I think this is a really good uh, website where you can buy their subscription or courses, and they will show you. As you can see, the website itself is just so beautiful looking, right? So you can go over there and learn more about the design process, more about how to get the shading right and all the gradients and all that stuff. Any other questions? All right, that's great, Niraj. Thank you. Thank you for all your questions. Hopefully that has helped you. I know some other people are joining in. Uh, Go ahead and introduce yourself if you want. Yeah, if you don't care about that much about the design part, then ChatGPT can be really good. I mean, sometimes what I'll do is I'll create a very basic design in I'll create a very basic design, in SwiftUI, and I'll just copy paste the code in ChatGPT, and I'll tell ChatGPT to make it better. I'll literally just say make it nicer looking, and that's it. And ChatGPT writes some code, adds some styles, blah blah blah, and it looks much nicer. All right, everyone, any other questions I can answer? You can all follow me if you are on Twitter. You can all follow me on or X right now, right? I mean, it's called X now. Uh, that's on. I always call it just Twitter. It's just at Adam Sharp. You can follow me over there. Um, so another question is, I use AI for coding, and I build my app and my app build is really coming along. That's great. I use Alex Sidebar. What is your opinion on AI tooling? Um, as long as you understand the code that is being written, it's okay. Uh, Sometimes I use also ChatGPT to write some code, but I also invest a lot of time in understanding what ChatGPT is actually doing and what the code is written. There is another thing that is going on in our coding community is something called vibe coding, VIBE, where people will just literally uh, copy paste the code and they don't even know what the code actually does. And they just refresh their screen and then, oh, it works and it doesn't work. And then they do it again. The problem with this approach is that code is, once they write it once, it's not like you're not going to go back. Maybe a week from or a couple of days after you have written the code, you will always have to go back and then change it or improve it or, refactor it. And if you have written it first time without understanding it, then it is going to cause some concerns because now you don't understand it, like what is exactly going on, and it will be very hard to change it. So in other words, even if the AI is writing code for you, try to understand what it is writing. Does using AI all the time is like cheating in coding, or is it evolution? What do you think? Um, as long as you understand the code that is being written, I think it's okay. If you're literally just copy pasting the code and just try to run it and see if it works without understanding what the code is all about, then I think it's still, I don't know if it's cheating or not, but it's definitely going to bite you later. So it's something that you're going to pay in the future in the form of technical debt, because AI tools are, I mean, they're great, but sometimes you have to structure things in a certain way. Sometimes you have to put a lot of thought into creating the architecture, creating certain modules, creating certain functions. And AI can write those things, that's fine, but it may not be the most best way to write those things. There might be some other better ways of writing those things. And I think that will kind of like differentiate between an experienced developer versus a person who is just literally copy pasting the code. Right? But I think I have some videos on YouTube where I did the same thing. I literally created the app without reading the code, uh, and I just copy pasted, copy pasted, copy pasted, and it did end up with creating the app. But when I looked at the code, I was like, I don't understand any of that stuff. I mean, I don't know how the calculation is done. So if tomorrow somebody asks me that, hey, we need to modify this calculation, then what's going to happen? I mean, I'll have to go back to AI and then ask AI to make those changes, and so it will be, you know, it it is always beneficial if we understand the code that we are writing. Always. Yeah, you can use Cursor. I think there's Cursor, there's GitHub Copilot, Alex Sidebar, whatever. I personally don't use any of those things. They're not like right or wrong and anything like that. I just don't use those things. I just, I use ChatGPT. Uh, yeah, so that's the only thing I actually use. And I just, I copy the code and then I try to understand what the ChatGPT is doing. So I don't really use anything that is built or plugged into Xcode. It's not like it's right or wrong. It's just that I personally just don't use it. All right. Any other questions? I am trying out something over here. Let me see. And I think for other people who are trying to start with iOS development, one other thing that can really help is trying to find user group meetings in your area, whether they are remote meetings, meaning you're just logging in remotely, or even going physically to that place. So that can really help. With connections, like making connections, I think that can definitely help you in the future. Right? Is structured currency a combined replacement? I think with async and await, a lot of code for the combine, a lot of different places, combine is no longer needed. I think combine still provides some benefits like debouncing and all those things, but again, you can implement those things in pure async and await fashion. So I'm not going to say combine is dead or anything, but it's I think it's going to be used less and less. So that's going to be probably the future with async and await, and even with async stream. Yanni is asking best design pattern. It really depends. I mean, I think what you're trying to do. I have written about design patterns a lot actually. Let me see if I can find that article. It's a pretty long article, and now people are actually using that pattern a lot in their application. So here is the article. So that's the one. That's the pattern that I use mostly when I'm building apps. But that's just one way to build apps, or one pattern. All right. What do you think about Swift concurrency additions in Swift 6? I think most of those, I would say it has really made the Swift language like a bloated language, to be honest. I think these things like concurrency and all of those things, uh, they should be available, but they also should not be so much providing so much interference that we always get into issues with concurrency and sendable and this and that. I think a language should step up and take care of most of these issues, because as developers, our main job is to create software, try to build apps for businesses, rather than to fight these challenges with, oh, we need to make it sendable, we need to make it this, we need to make it that. Just try to hide this level of complexity, and it should be kind of like built into the language itself, so that developers can just focus on the business needs rather than fighting the language. Having said that, I don't that much deal with concurrency issues. Um, I know that if I am porting an old project to a new project, like Swift 5 project to 6, then yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of issues. But maybe it's because the way that I design my apps or structure my apps, I don't really get into bad situations. Not always. I mean, sometimes I will get into some situations, but I am a heavy user of structs. All the services that I create, they are structs. I do use observable objects. I think this is the article that shows you that I do use observable objects. Um, but I rarely get those issues. And yes, when I do get those issues, they are quite annoying, um, to fix. But I rarely do get those issues. All right. So this is kind of like how I will write my application, depending on, again, the application itself. All right. Any other questions? I'm also excited about this WWDC, which is actually coming up, right? I mean, less than a month probably. Yeah, less than a month. So, what are your plans? I mean, what do you want to see? I know there are a lot of people over here. So, what exactly are you excited about to see at WWDC? Anybody actually going to WWDC? Anybody attending WWDC? I mean, that would be cool if you're actually going there. Will you be in a live event in Houston area anytime soon? Um, I don't think Houston has any iOS conferences going on. If there is iOS conference in Houston, then yeah. I mean, I live in Houston, but if there is any live conference in Houston going on, then yes, I would definitely be there. But as you know, that there's nothing much going on live conference. I think we used to have something called Houston Tech Fest a long time ago. I used to speak over there. I think I spoke there like 7 or 8 years in a row, .NET development and jQuery and JavaScript, and then moving on to iOS development. But that hasn't happened for forever, basically. Yanni is asking, will you go? I am not going to WWDC. I actually have never been to WWDC. I have never even applied for WWDC. So no, I will not be there. Okay, all right. I think one time due, I was there at, well, not at WWDC, the event, but I was in the event next door, which was in 2017. It was ALT conference, ALT conference, and I spoke over there about you know view controllers and all that stuff. Yes, content creators WWDC is definitely the the event of the year. So I'm definitely looking forward to see what's gonna happen, and I think it's gonna be an exciting event, hopefully. Um, and it's yeah, it is a busy for content creators, definitely a busy event. So yeah, it's going to be exciting, hopefully. Any other questions? Let's see over here. What is your opinion about sequence async screen handoff? In my option, very poor. I haven't really worked that much with async sequence that much. I know it's kind of like async sequence is when you fetch something and asynchronously and you get access to that thing immediately, something like that. But I personally have not really used async sequence that much. Even with, I think even with async and await stuff, I have only used only a couple of different things like async and await, obviously, and I've used um, those main actor and all those kind of things. But I haven't really used async street sequence that much. For beginner, WW is not that interesting. Months of beta problems is not fun. Yeah, yeah. And you probably have to have a separate machine, or have to do something to update your computer with the latest Mac OS, and then then you'll have to use it. So yeah. See over here. Also, I don't know if I've mentioned it, but recently, if you're on YouTube, which you are, and if you are subscribed to my channel, I have recently added this, which is literally, I added it like maybe yesterday. So there are a lot of videos that I'm adding. It's kind of hard to see over here, actually. Let me see if I can show you. Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to see over here. Let me see if I can zoom in something. No, doesn't allow me to zoom in. Okay, yeah. So I have been working very hard to create this separate section of videos for members only. So there is a feature in YouTube for fans, like if they are fan of my videos or fan of some channel, that they can subscribe for a very low cost, and then they can get access to these things. So I'm just trying this out. It has been going okay for now, uh, but I've been trying it out. And let me see actually over here If you refresh, yeah. So I just added this. I'll give you a link if you're interested, by the way. So let me see if I can give you the link. And if that link actually even give you that access. Let me see. It's kind of hard to copy these links. Yeah, so over here you will be able to see all the member-only videos. There we go. And it's like if you're a fan and you want to get like these videos or you want to access these videos, so I've just added that. It's not much. You can see it's like $2.99 a month, and for Insider it's like $9.99. I'll probably see how it goes, how it performs, and maybe in the future I can even add like a middle plan, like $4.99 a month or something. But this is like for individual, well, not individual, but this is like you get you get the support, you become a fan or whatever, and then you get access to basically all of these different videos. All right, I think which is over here. So these are the different videos in the membership right now, but I will be adding a lot more videos. I think next week I'll be adding a video on instruments, how to use instruments to find bottlenecks in your networking and how to fix them. But these are some videos: managing independent navigation stacks, location, reusable async button, core ML model hosting with Vapor. So there are, what, 10 videos right now, but this is going to be a growing collection. All right. So I just added that for members only stuff. So if you're interested, the link is right there in your description. So you'll be able to access that. And yeah, both the plans will give you access to all the videos, by the way. So that's something new. I'm testing it out, but we'll see how it goes. And another thing is, on my website, if you are ever interested in attending a live workshop, like a 3-hour hands-on workshop, then you can go to my Azam Sharp School website and check out this page for workshops. Now, the next one is coming up actually really quickly. It's coming up on May 16th, and this is going to be on Swift data fundamentals. So this is a great workshop, but there are some other workshops on testing, on Vapor. All of them are 3 hours hands-on workshops. So if you're ever interested in attending a live workshop on Zoom, this is the page, and I've added that in your I've added that link on your chat. All right, so hopefully you'll attend one of these workshops. So we have another question. What is the duration of C++ programming language? I don't know what that means. C++, it's been a while since I've done C++. I mean, it's been like 20 years, so I have no idea what's going on in that programming language. I think if you ask me to write C++, probably I won't be able to do that. It's been probably 20 years or even more that I've done C++. C and C++. I've done it probably in 2002, 2003, 4, and 5. But after that, I switched to C Sharp. All right. Any other questions? We are reaching kind of like the 1 hour mark quickly. So if you have any other questions, let me know. And then I will have to also run to a different meeting. But this has been great. I mean, a lot of people have asked really good questions. Another question is your opinion on KMP, Kotlin multi-platform. I have personally never used Kotlin multi-platform, but I think they just got like out of beta and they just released the stable version or whatever you want to call it. People who have used Kotlin multi-platform, they do love it. I know some people and they actually really enjoy it. So I personally have never done it. I have, however, used Skip. I don't know if many people know about Skip, but Skip is a tool that you can use to use Swift UI to create iOS application of course, but also Android application with the same code. All right, so you will have one code base and you will be targeting iPhone and Android. So Skip is kind of cool. If you want to take a look at it, you can definitely do that. And I have done some videos on Skip. Actually, I created a course on Skip also. If you go to courses, here we go. There I have a course on Skip right there. So if you ever want to check out the course, you definitely can. And I think I've added a new section on the course also on Firebase. Like how do you integrate Firebase? So here we go. The course. It's a detailed course. I'm not sure how many hours it is, but it's a pretty big course. Firebase integrations. I've added all of that stuff also. So try out Skip. I mean, if you already have a knowledge of SwiftUI, then Skip might be a good thing to research, about and see how it feels. Can you make an app tutorial how to make a read later app? Okay, that's a good suggestion. I can definitely take a look at that. Then Yanni is saying Firebase or Superbase. Both are extremely similar, Firebase and Superbase, and I actually prefer Superbase because they both provide the same functionality. But Superbase, what I have seen since I work with Superbase and Firebase, is it's quick to set up and it doesn't take down your Xcode when it's building. Like when I was using Firebase maybe last year, and when you integrate Firebase with your project, then it's like it takes like forever to build the app because it has to build all of those libraries and compile and all that stuff. So it was literally taking forever to build the app for the first time. But Superbase, I've seen it's much lighter weight, and it also provides you probably the same amount of features that Firebase provides. They're very close in terms of what features they provide. So I like Superbase much better because of its easy to set up and speed and build and all that stuff. All right. Any other questions? I think we are going to be wrapping up really soon because I have to jump into a different meeting. But any other questions? Once again, here the link. I'm going to say member only videos on YouTube. I'm just trying it out. Let's see how this works because I wanted to try out for like, you know, trying to see if oh, there we go. We have a Artem, and I'm not going to pronounce your last name because I am probably going to mess it up. So Artem, welcome to Adam Shop supporter. Well, thank you for being a supporter. I literally just launched this program maybe yesterday or so, and thank you for joining. That's really nice of you, Artem. And if you don't mind me asking, Artem, where are you from? Like region, uh, if you're here, if you can, it's always good to know where people are from. So because if I'm in that area, I would love to meet them. So, so that's always good to know. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. This has been really great. And you know what? We're gonna host it again next week also. Maybe I'll do some sort of a small session on something, like maybe basics of navigation or SwiftUI architecture, and maybe things like that. And yeah, it has been awesome. Artem is saying that he's from Ukraine. Well, thank you again, Artem. and that's great. All right. So once again, everyone, thank you so much, and thank you everyone for coming. Those were great questions, and we will do this again probably next week. All right. So thank you everyone for coming.